Hello, and welcome to Entangled, the podcast where we explore the science of consciousness, the true nature of reality, and what it means to be a spiritual being having a human experience. I'm your host, Jordan Youkilis, and today I'm joined by Sean McCann, host of the Wake the Dead podcast. Today's episode focuses on Sean's discovery of the Fidelio Experiment in Stanley Kubrick's film Eyes Wide Shut. We're joined in this episode by guest co-host and Kubrick expert John Coffey. In this conversation, Sean describes how his life's journey led him to the philosophy of anarchy, the reality of the occult, and the art of photography. He describes how this led to his study of director Stanley Kubrick and the consciousness-expanding nature of psychedelics. We then discuss MK Ultra, Nicole Kidman's character Alice in Eyes Wide Shut, and trauma-based mind control. Sean explains how the documentary Room 237 unlocked another level of understanding of the film for him as he recognized that Helena was stolen from the toy store at the end of the film. We discuss Project Monarch and the genetic transfer of memories. Sean explains why butterflies are used to symbolize multi-generational mind control slaves, as it takes 3 generations of monarch butterflies to complete their migratory journey. We then dive into Sean McCann's Fidelio Experiment, his discovery that Eyes Wide Shut synchronizes with itself and Kubrick's other films every hour on the hour. Sean argues that this is evidence that 20 minutes of the film were never removed and that Kubrick himself may have intentionally created that rumor. Sean describes the connection between the password Fidelio in Eyes Wide Shut and the music of Beethoven in A Clockwork Orange. Sean then provides live commentary as we play the Fidelio Experiment, starting Eyes Wide Shut simultaneously at the 0, 60, and 120 minute marks. Sean, John, and I discuss the casting of Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise as a recognition of both actors' real-life involvement in human trafficking. Sean explains Kubrick's use of non-submersible units rather than dialogue in his film construction. He describes the Tesseract as an occult symbol for mind control slavery. We consider how Kubrick uses non-submersible units in his films to expose the cabal and in his artwork gave humanity the weapon needed to bring down the cult. Sean then provides commentary over his 10-screen Fidelio experiment with 3 Eyes Wide Shut screens playing in tandem with 7 other Kubrick films. We discuss Kubrick's interplay of music, dialogue, and time. From there, Sean, John, and I discuss how organized crime in the material realm mirrors the hierarchy of the spiritual realm. Sean explains how ancient child sacrifice to Tanit has continued to present day, including via the circumcision of babies. We end the conversation considering demonic invocation and the nature of moon children conceived at the satanic rituals portrayed in Eyes Wide Shut. Note we ran into issues with John's audio and visual after about the first hour, but we were able to re-record the lost audio and edit it back into the interview. Outros available for all episodes at entangledpodcast.substack.com with supporting exhibits and footnotes. Music from the show available on the Spotify playlist Entangled the Vibes. This outro is titled The Fidelio Experiment. If you like the show, please drop a 5-star review and subscribe on Substack, YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, X, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please enjoy the episode. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Entangled. Tonight, I'm very honored to be interviewing the great Sean McCann with my friend John Coffey. So, Sean, John, how you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
I'm very glad to be here, and I'm glad to meet your friend John, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Sean. I mean, I've been a huge fan of your show for the past year or so since John first introduced me to it. And been working on a big series about Eyes Wide Shut and broader human trafficking networks as a whole after John and I, about 1.5 years ago, did a deep dive into the film. And so, yeah, really excited to have you on to talk about it. But before we get into the film itself, would love a little bit of your history, how you ultimately got fascinated with film and Kubrick and Eyes Wide Shut, and ultimately started the Wake the Dead podcast.
Right on. Well, I started life as an anarchist, but I didn't recognize it until I really learned what it's all about. I was fighting the system my whole existence, and so I was always questioning, always looking down. I went following myself down the rabbit holes of the occult and learning natural law and psychopathy and mind control and government control of the world. Basically all of those type of subjects. And I've always been a photographer. Like, I was doing photography in high school, and I was actually teaching photography in high school when I was a senior, because the teacher quit and they had no teacher. It was pretty interesting. So photography has been like a kind of a main focus for my heart is just drawn to the visual image. And in photography school, they were teaching us about Stanley Kubrick. They were like, this guy's a photographer, check out his work. And looking at his old stuff when he was a kid, he was taught by his dad. His dad had a darkroom in the basement, and that's how he learned about photography. And so I had this I had an affinity for that. I saw myself in him, and and so I've always loved Kubrick. And I asked my father would get a bunch of, like, he would rent a movie and download it onto his computer. And so, like, every movie he's ever seen, like, he's got them, he just stacks. And I asked him, I was like, hey, please give me every Kubrick movie. And he's like, all right. And I got this like stack of them in the mail, and I've always had those, and they were just there. And I like to watch movies like people listen to albums. I'll put it on and I'll do something while it's on, and it's like experiencing it in a different way. And I've seen Eyes Wide Shut. It's visually perfect. I mean, the lighting and the framing, it's like the best, most beautiful image, succession of images that I've ever seen on film. So I love to have it on, and it went in my, I'm also a fan of putting my mind in different states with psychedelics and that type of thing. And so a lot of times I'll be high, or in the past, be high and watch the movie, have the movie on, and I'm seeing things in new ways, and I'm making connections that I never thought. And one of the delights of Kubrick is the fact that it's it's so much with Easter eggs and with things that you can follow and find, and visual play. It's always interesting, and you're always learning something, finding new things. So it's just always been a delight for me to watch that film, and I've seen it probably over 1,000 times or something like that.
Wow.
And it's like, I see it as a different thing than just a movie. It's like, when I look at it that way, I can look at it and take it apart and turn it over and really kind of get into it, because I'm not into the story and I'm not engrossed because I've seen it so much, and I know all the lines, and so that was just, and so then, as I said, I was going down the rabbit holes, and I really keyed into certain podcasts, like the Free Zone with Freeman Fly.
Yeah.
He used to teach a lot about Britney and mind control, the Britney Spears and the Mickey Mouse Club and the whole, that whole thing. And I was also deep into the What on Earth is Happening podcast with Mark Passio.
Yeah.
And he was teaching all about the dark occult and the symbolism, and he'll teach you the astrology, Kabbalah, all of the fundamentals of the occult. And so that was all in there. It was all in my brain. And watching Eyes Wide Shut, it just occurred to me that Alice is a programmed multiple. The wife of Bill, the main character, Alice, She is a programmed multiple uh, mind control victim of trauma-based mind control run by this cult. And this is the same type of situation that I've learned about from Kathy O'Brien, Bryce Taylor, and many of the people that I've had on my show. This is the same experience that they've had. And Kubrick is showing us through symbolism and through the way that he's unfolding the story that this is what is happening. And it really hammered when I saw that Room 237, the documentary about Kubrick and The Shining. And there was a scene, or there was a clip from John Fell Ryan, who I've interviewed. I've had him on my show twice. He's great. He spoke about how, and it wasn't his idea, I guess, but he said, "Oh, look, Helena gets stolen at the end of the film from the toy store." And like, I always had this sneaking suspicion, okay, yeah, but then it confirmed for me, because that's what they do. The generational Satanists who abuse their own family members, and they abuse other individuals in a generational way. So the child of a trauma-based mind-controlled mother is more apt to dissociate when put into stressful situations. There's a genetic memory that's passed down. That's why they call it monarch, because the monarch butterflies have a genetic memory of how do they get from Canada to Mexico. It takes 3 generations. How do they know? So this is, and the monarch of the hierarchy of control, they're
the monarchy.
Yes, the monarchy, exactly.
Right.
And so my friend Carrie Olahe said that she was, they told her that she was a Habsburg unicorn. And the Habsburgs were the monarchy of, they did it in a different way with their breeding systems and their marriage, but they ruled the Holy Roman Empire, and the way that she was programmed, Carrie was, there were unicorns everywhere. They used that symbolism. They used these movies like, The Last Unicorn, the cartoon, and the other, like the Tom Cruise movie there with the unicorn in it, and Tim Curry as the devil. Like these, anyway, they used child movies to program scripts into the victims, and that's just like Nutcracker, which was Helena, the daughter of Alice, is being programmed with Nutcracker programming. She's wearing a tutu. She's got ballet slippers. She asks to stay up to see the Nutcracker. And then Kubrick chooses the Nutcracker, which happened to be the first ballet which features children. And it's famous for being used by pedophiles to predate on children. And it's like a thing in ballet schools. So anyway, like when I discovered this and it hit me, it was like, okay, now I know what I'm looking for. And it's not like I have a bias, like a confirmation bias, like I'm just finding what I want to find. Other people find stuff and they're like, look at this. And I'm like, holy shit, that fits. And excuse my language. And it's everything. I keep discovering and more, and it all fits. And I'm just amazed every time. So like, some of it, I can't even believe it's real. Like, is this really like, am I just being crazy? But I've gotten so far into it where I've discovered that Eyes Wide Shut synchronizes with itself. And I know people they don't want to hear that because they wish that there was this 20 minutes that was cut out of the film, and They
Why do you think that is? That people wish that had occurred?
It gives them the ability to plug in whatever they want to the movie.
Oh, okay, that makes
So
sense.
like, um, Kubrick he featured Ovid in the script. Ovid, if you read Ovid, the
Mm-hmm.
Art of Love.
Mm-hmm.
So Ovid also wrote Metamorphosis,
Right.
which relates to the butterfly and the changing of the pupa of the human girl into the butterfly of the SRA mind control victim,
Right.
total what they want.
Right.
Ovid, I believe that Kubrick may have intentionally caused the rumor that his film is unfinished. And I think that because Ovid did the same thing when he was looking at Virgil's work. He saw that Virgil said, burn all my manuscripts, burn it all. No one's going to get it. It's, and someone like saved Virgil's work and like kept it safe and passed it on. And that's like, oh, what if there was stuff that's missing and it's not there and it's incomplete? And think of what could have been. It's such perfect poetry. Imagine what it could have been.
Right.
So then Ovid does the same thing, where his Metamorphosis, he created a rumor that it is incomplete, and then it became like this urban legend type myth, where it takes the perfect book of the Metamorphosis and it makes it even better, and only your imagination can conceive how perfect it could be. So everybody's individual imagination can conceive of whatever. So this extra, cut 20 minutes allows people to plug in like, oh, there was kids in robes at the ritual space. And, oh, there was a pentagram written on the floor. And you don't need these types of things. It's all there already.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, and I mean, you cut 20 minutes out of it's like a 3-hour movie almost. It's 2 hours and 38 minutes. Like, it's not 237. It's like 239. But anyway, it's like, add another 20 minutes. There's almost 3 hours worth of movie. Nobody's going to sit in the theater for that. The Kubrick did not. And then when I look, and then it proves, like, when it synchronizes with itself, and I can show you clips if you want.
Yeah.
One frame speaks to the next frame, and then they all relate to each other. And like one frame will have Helena, the next frame will have Alice, and the other frame will have, one frame will have Helena, and then like let's say Lily Sobieski in the Rainbow Room, and then Alice, and all three of them are like the same character. They're the same. Trauma-based mind control and we see like how the mirror of each frame is the same, and then it connects all of it together, and then we can see that Lily Sobieski is just a younger version of what Alice is, and Helena is a younger version of what Lily is, and it's the life stages that these trauma-based mind control victims go through. They start with the kidnapping, then they get groomed by Millich to be a perfect sex slave, and then they go into the fashion industry like Mandy was, and then and then they get used up and thrown away like Mandy was, or they are held onto and used as breeders like Alice is, and that's what Kubrick is depicting for us, and that's all there when you see Eyes Wide Shut lined up with itself exactly at 1 hour, and exactly the 1 hour moment is when Nick Nightingale is writing Fidelio on the paper, on the napkin. It's exactly at that point, and he says, "I'm coming right now." At that moment, 00010. So I was like, "Holy!" And then I go even further, And I'm talking about how Eyes Wide Shut relates, like, is self-synchronized. And then I find, like, I'm one of my friends, Brett Carollo of the PsyOps Cinema podcast, was asking me about, what Fidelio, come on, that's some stuff there. There's something there, right? And I was telling him it's not as much. I mean, the Fidelio, the script of the opera by Beethoven, the script of Fidelio is. It also has a metamorphosis of sorts where the wife of Fidelio dresses as a man and to work at this prison to free him from this place, and that's kind of mirrored in Mandy in the Mask at the party where she's like, I will, she'll atone,
Redeem him.
Redeem. Yes, thank you. And so, so that's mirrored there too. So there's a little bit of that, but to me, Fidelio is Ludwig van, the Clockwork Orange. Ludwig van was like,
sure,
what it was the weapon which was used to fight the psychopath. Alex is a perfect psychopath, and they used Beethoven to attack him and make him want to kill himself and jump out a window.
Right.
So this is like the powerful art that's used as a weapon, right? And so Fidelio, I mean, Kubrick's movies are the weapon, right?
Yeah.
Is it fair to say, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Please.
Just with that in mind, what you were just talking about in terms of A Clockwork Orange, is it fair to say, I think it is, that really all of the corpus of Kubrick's work is about mind control? I mean, not every single moment of every movie is that, but all of what he's done is one giant movie about mind control. Would you agree with that?
Yes, completely. Yes. Okay. And not only mind control, but also psychopathy.
Sure.
The nature of power, hierarchical power.
Oh, without question.
Right. Like, look at 2001 and look at the apes and the whole situation where they start eating meat. They kill their brother in the Garden of Eden. And,
the beginning of psychopathy.
Here. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like some alien force that comes down and infects us, And,
Exactly.
Right. And then you look at Eyes Wide Shut, and that is like the peak pinnacle of what the apes have achieved in their psychopathic domination of the planet. And that's where you get this, the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians and all the Hellfire Club and all that crap. That's what that is.
Sure.
They organize themselves to predate. It's a conspiracy.
All of humanity.
Yes.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I believe that Kubrick was aware of this, and Eyes Wide Shut is just like the icing on the cake. That is that whole corpus that you spoke, the thesis of his work in general. It tops it off perfectly, and that's why I think one of the reasons why he gave away AI, because
to Spielberg.
Yeah, because I mean AI is another element of like the child predation and shit, and I believe there was some, like, he can't just depict that without putting in all of the stuff, all the references and shit, you know what I mean? So he's working very hard. He was working for many years on that. He was working since the 70s, basically, working on AI. And he thought that the way, like the people say that, the way that he films, it would have taken so long, the child actor would have grown up by the time they're done filming. So he was actually looking to get a real robot child. And then he was like, well, that's not going to work because it doesn't have the emotion and all that shit. Right. And so it was like, never really got made. And so it wasn't, I mean, he was going to put the same message in there. I mean, the the mind control has got and is past the point of the secret societies. Now the world has ended because of all the whatever the problems that had occurred with all the psychopaths on the planet, and now all that's left are the robots. And the robots, what was Hal? Hal was created the first AI, and it was a psychopath. You know what I mean?
He's driven insane. Yeah, Hal
Right.
is driven insane. Absolutely.
And he's given the same will as the humans who programmed him, who are also psychopath.
Mhm.
And it's like in the way that the apes get the transmission from the monolith is kind of the same that we apes are giving to Hal. Like we're giving him that spark of psychopathy that was given to us when we were apes, and it's transmitting into the next species and going further. I mean, he could have done a lot with it, but I'm sure that he knew that with all that was going on, and he, with Eyes Wide Shut, and I think that all his focus was put into Eyes Wide Shut because it really is the perfect icing of this, and it's telling the times of now instead of the speculation of the future.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Because
that's true.
And plus with AI, the idea of the end of the world was all like global warming and that fake bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, I wonder if that rubbed him the wrong way, but I mean, I can only speculate. But still, I do agree with you, John, that it is one. I'm sorry, I'll mute that. It is one great work of showing the nature of humanity and the state of our human condition, the programmability of the human mind. It's all there. It's really Kubrick is such a genius, and
Yeah.
So when I'm doing all this stuff, I'm just doing my best to help others see what a genius and what a gift we were given by Stanley. What
Totally
amazing work.
Yeah. And Sean, I've got your Fidelio experiment pulled up and would love to get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. And first, though, before we do that, I wanted to circle back on the idea that, Stanley Kubrick may have planted that whole idea about the 20 minutes being cut out. Do you think that would imply he knew he was going to be killed?
I don't know. It could be, but there is that whole thing that David Icke talked about, how he was pacing back and forth when they were watching it at the screening of the movie, like smoking cigarettes, like, all worried, and the big argument. And that's all hearsay. But if it was true, maybe he knew his time was numbered. Maybe he always knew because, like, he did work with these people. Who knows what those contracts are going to say? Like what? And like, he might have speculated, but I can't be sure.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, and it can't be sure if he was taken out. Really, the way that it happened.
True.
It could have been a natural heart attack. So
Yeah.
Well, just like Ziegler says at the end of the movie, people die all the time.
Right.
I mean, it could be that. I think most of us probably lean towards the fact that he was taken out. But I've always wondered about that. In that the cat was already out of the bag. The horse had already left the barn. The movie's already out. What's the point of killing him after the fact, so to speak?
Good point. Yeah, good point.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I
And
also think.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say the reason I'm sure that people are speculating is because they had to cut. They had to cut that 20 minutes, and and like his contract said that he had final cut, and so that's their reasoning that they come up with. But who really knows?
Yeah.
Well, Jordan and I talked about this when we talked about the movie. What could they have possibly cut that would have made a difference? Everything that you need to know is still in the film. So, what could have been cut that made any difference? I've always felt that way. That I think no, the film. I didn't do the. I didn't come up with the Fidelio synchronization that you have, but nonetheless, I've always felt that the film is, complete. Has always been complete.
Yeah.
But,
although I have heard Roger Avery make the argument that there was a voiceover in certain scenes that was removed. I don't know if you've heard that too as well.
I wonder if he's got that confused with Barry Lyndon. Because there was a controversy with Barry Lyndon where Ryan O'Neal was supposed to do the voiceover. And he was fired abruptly. And if you read, what's her name? Tatum O'Neal's book,
right,
the daughter of Ryan O'Neal, it explains why he was fired. And Ryan O'Neal is a disgusting individual who is immoral and disgusting. And I don't want to talk about, it's like, people's private life, but he was supposed to be the narrator. He was fired abruptly, and then they got the other narration, which I think works much better. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I wonder if he got that confused, because Ryan Avery doesn't seem like a very reliable source. The way that he talks, he's just kind of flying by the seat of his pants and just like, I heard this. The thing with him on with Quentin Tarantino on Rogan, that's just, it gets clicks. Everybody wants to hear that. They want to hear, oh yes, you're confirming what I always thought. It's cut. Of course it's cut. They killed him,
Yeah.
So it's it gets clicks. It gets people to listen to Joe Rogan and whatever.
Sure.
Gets shared around.
Sure.
People get real mad at me when I pop the bubble for that. Like they want to cling on to that 20 minutes,
Yeah. No, makes sense. All right. Well, why don't we get into the Fidelio effect? So,
please.
So what I've got pulled up here, and tell me if you want me to start somewhere else, but I thought maybe we could go with when he first goes to the lounge, the descent into the underworld.
Okay.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
All right.
I think I got it.
It's great because it's like constant, one after another, always happening.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Does this work?
Yes.
That's a sequel.
The red door, the red walls. This is going into the red. You like that? What do you like? Please. Please. Oh, wait. This is leading the door. There's Kubrick. We're going to have to go. Thank you. Look at anything, right? Here we go. It's going to get real interesting.
So yeah, this is at 1 hour and 56 minutes. I put the timer there just so we can see exactly what's going on. And I used a program where everything starts at the same click. I go click and all of them go synchronized at the same time. So it's not like I was fumbling to make it work like this. It is exact. And so yeah, when it gets to the 2 hour mark, you will see how it all fits. It's great. Please continue.
Yeah. And Sean, how did you figure this out originally?
Well, I don't really. So like
a lot of mushrooms.
Yeah, right, yeah, basically right. But so when Lily is okay with the whole thing with Lily in the Rainbow Room, and how that relates to Alice drinking the drink with the Hungarian at the bar. I just for some reason I felt that like that was a moment. And so like I was watching, and when it got to that, okay, so really this is it came to my mind now. What it really was when when Mandy was in the bathroom and Ziegler is telling him like, can I get her out of here? Can I get some clothes on her and get her out of here? Bill says, I think you should keep her here for about an hour and then have somebody take her home. And I was like, about an hour. And he keeps looking at his watch and he's holding his wrist. It's an hour. He repeats it to him, an hour. And he looks at his watch and I'm like, there's got to be something there.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is that? And so I skip ahead exactly 1 hour. And it's Mandy kissing Bill mask to mask at the party.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, that's the same girl there in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
That's who she is. Like, who is this girl? It's her. And it's relating to the same. And there she is on the red carpet. And, you know, the red chair is the same as the red carpet. And then I'm like, wow, this 1 hour thing. And so then I was like, I wonder, you know, what else would happen. So the moment where he's drinking the drink and like, or she's drinking, Alice is at the bar and I'm like, there's gotta be something there too.
Mm-hmm.
So like right when he's talking to her and she's introducing herself, exactly 1 hour later is Milich discovering the cheese pizza in the rainbow room with the glass walls, you know, and he's like, what is this? And then and then he finds the little teddy of the little girl's negligee and he's like, what is this? And then Alice in the other frame says, I think that's my glass. And he says, oh, I'm absolutely certain of it, you know. And then she says, I'm Alice Harford at the exact same time that Milich is screaming, this is my daughter. Can't you see she is a child? I was like, wow, this is like exact. Look at how exact, you know? And then I was like, wait a minute. What if I go 1 more hour? And I skip ahead 1 more hour. And this is when Bill is discovering about Mandy dead in the morgue.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, and the moment, like, the sound of the drawer opening from the morgue when he's pulling her dead body, the orderly's pulling her dead body out by the drawer, that loud ka-chung chung of the drawer exactly lines up with the door slamming on the Japanese guys into the rainbow room.
Wow.
And he's locking the door.
Mm-hmm.
You've got you in this box now, right? And so like I was like, holy shit. And so I'm trying to think of how can I, because I was going to be on with William Ramsey on his show, and I wanted to show him what I found. How do I show people this? Like, they're gonna think I'm crazy. So I went and I got OBS, which is a free broadcasting program for my computer, and I was able to put the movie in 3 times, and I pressed play, and exactly at 1 hour, I pressed play again on the second one, and exactly at 2 hours, I pressed play on the third one. And as it was happening, I was like, oh, I was like gripping my chair. I was like, look at this. Oh my God. And I was like, this can't be real. How could he do this? You know, just like it opened up this whole other door for me. And it was also confirming everything that I'm thinking about. You know, all this idea of what the movie is confirmed when the frames are showing their relation to each other. And when they exactly line up on the timeline, it's like, oh yeah, these are the same. It's like just another revolution around the spiral. You know, you go around the spiral, you find yourself in the same place, but on the next level up, you know, and go around again. And so that's what was happening. And so like I was like, okay, I'm going to film. I'm just going to record this whole thing playing from start to finish. And I let it go all the way to the end of the third one. So it's like 5 hours, you know, but it's just to prove that I didn't fuck with it. I didn't edit nothing. Excuse my language again. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
And so to show everyone. And then one of my friends was like, it's kind of confusing with all the audio, and it would be great if you could have subtitles. I was like, oh yeah, great. Okay. And so then when I put the subtitles, it's even more like easy to
More
read,
obvious. Yeah.
more obvious, right? And so I also put the timer in there to prove to everybody what is happening when. And so that's what the Fidelio Experiment. I called it Fidelio because that's the 1 hour mark is when he's writing Fidelio, and the Fidelio is the password. It is the key to the next level of understanding. This 1 hour thing, and I think it's Kubrick showing his ability. Like, he has always been so attuned to the timeline that now he can make a movie that synchronizes with itself.
Wow.
And even The Shining kind of does, and some other, like Full Metal Jacket kind, but not so much. But Eyes Wide Shut is like perfect. It is perfect. And so later I was going on with this, like this. I was going to be on with Brett and Psyop Cinema. He was going to talk about Kubrick. He talks about all these other movies, but he never got to Kubrick. And so this is the first Kubrick episode was with me. I was very excited.
Wow.
And so, and he's talking about NASA and all this documentation he found. Everybody should listen to that. It's a really great episode. But preparing for that, and we were talking about Fidelio, and I was like, it's got to be it's got to be a Clockwork Orange reference. Ludwig van, that's why Beethoven's opera, and so then I'm watching then I'm watching A Clockwork Orange one more time before I go on with Brett, and I notice that the scene where he's getting the eye drops and he's the Ludovico method, that was at 1 hour and 13 minutes. And I'm like, 1 hour 11, and then it really opens up at 1 hour and 13. And I was like, and 117 is when he's yelling, yes, yes. And he's like, what's all this about sin? And he's talking about the sinning and sin. And he's like, oh, you've heard of this music before? You a fan of music? He's like, yes. That, when he's yelling yes, is the exact moment when Mandy is kissing Bill mask to mask at the ritual. Wow. Yes. What? Yeah. So like when he's strapped down and he's talking about like the red of the and his friend Vino, the really red of our good old friend blood, is seeing blood on the screen, and you never really notice how really red it is till you see it on the big screen, right? That's what he's talking about.
Right.
And that is the same moment when Bill is walking into the ritual space and they open the curtain and there's the red carpet and the guy, gold mask and the red and all. It's never really real until you see it on the big screen, and then they open the curtain and there it is. It's like, oh my God, the Ludovico met. This is the same as the ritual. It's the same time exactly. And I was like, oh, A Clockwork Orange, right? Oh, right. And so Clockwork. And I'm like, holy crap. He was doing it then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, it's this whole like. And then, all right. So then I play Eyes Wide Shut Fidelio with A Clockwork Orange. And I'm like, look at all these other things that line up. Holy crap. And the mind control stuff is revealed and is concretized when you see this, And so then I'm like, well, I wonder if it fits with The Shining. And sure as hell, yeah, it does. Oh my God. Like exactly at 1 hour when he's writing Fidelio is when Jack is screaming and Wendy runs to him. Oh, Jack, are you okay? He's like, I had the most horrible dream. I killed you and Danny with an axe and I stacked your bodies, and and that's exactly when Fidelio and like the opening up of like when she's like reading the papers of the typewriter is it all these non-submersible units, as he called them, they line up. And like the last one that I did, that I'm finding all these other movies, all of them. And And then I watched Barry Lyndon with Eyes Wide Shut. And the moment that their son dies and they're crying for the loss of their son, and there's then there's the coffin, and they're like following the coffin, is the moment that the child is dead, is like dying on the bed there, and they're both crying over the loss of their baby, is when Helena gets stolen from the toy store. Yes.
Wow.
Really?
So the loss of a child happens at the same time as the loss of a child. I'm like, oh my God, and Barry Lyndon is such a long one. And so like when you watch, I ended up doing this this huge thing with 8 Kubrick films on 10 screens, because I did Eyes Wide Shut on 3. And I put it all together, and you watch it go, and it's just like, the CRM 114 from Strangelove is like, and it gets the message right when the Hungarian drinks Alice's glass, and it's like, beep, 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 and it's like, whoa. And it's the same time when like Alex whistles when they're having the fight of the ultraviolence, and it's the same time, like the 7 minutes exactly is when he drinks the drink, and then like 42 minutes, you see Full Metal Jacket. He's yelling about the the guy in the bathroom when he's doing the this is my rifle, right. 7.62 millimeter. He's yelling Full Metal Jacket is like right at like 42 minutes, and that's right when Danny touches the doorknob of 237 for the first time. And I'm learning about the numbers by watching what is unfolding. So it goes. I'm going way off here, but let's get back to this.
No, that's great. That's great.
I mean,
please.
It's just unimaginable that he could construct a career with a goal of connecting every single movie in a way that's obviously never been done. And if you look at it, I mean, again, just the he's not called the greatest director for no reason. And I would never, I got to give you props, Sean. I never would have thought to connect the movies other than the overarching themes of what each movie's about: mind control, the torture, the corruption of the elites, psychopathy, and so on and so forth. But that's still, again, kind of unbelievable.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah. And when you look at how he does his work, and everybody's talking about how crazy it is that he takes all these takes, and he, makes the actor go through 70 takes. Harvey Keitel quit because Kubrick made him walk through a door 70 times. He's like, this is crazy. I don't want to, but now it makes sense, because then when you have that many choices to work from, you can find all those synchronistic moments.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
he almost took what's her name, Jack Nicholson's wife in The Shining, to insanity, didn't he? I mean, but what plays on the screen is a woman on the verge of insanity. It's very literal and very real.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he knew what he was doing and how he was manipulating those actors, right?
I can't remember her name.
Shelley
Duvall.
Shelley Duvall. Thank you.
So,
goodness.
God bless. She's great. I love her. And
Oh.
rest in peace.
So absolutely.
But think about what he did to Tom and Nicole, and how he was manipulating them for Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
And if you know about Nicole Kidman, and if you've read Fiona Barnett, and if you understand who Anthony Kidman was and what the mind control operations that were working against children in Australia, you would know that Nicole is most likely a programmed multiple is in real life?
I think it's probably pretty close to unquestionable.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, she's eating bugs. Like, she does whatever they want, right? And now you hear her daughter coming out talking about she's a total witch. She's bald. She turns people into a ladder. Like, that's like Return to Oz type level magic. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to that
You,
point of belief yet, but holy crap. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
well, I was going to say, and then same thing, you look at the origins of Scientology, it traces back to the same OTO cult. And, you know, I think that there's a very
Naval
specific
officer.
reason. Exactly, right. Like, why did Kubrick pick Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman for this film? There's a lot of layers going on.
Yes. So, if you know that Nicole is a program multiple, then when you learn that, because people are like, oh, he was using their marriage and their jealousy, and the scenes where Nicole is kissing and being touched on naked by the naval officer, Tom was not allowed to be there. And that was making Tom freak out. Why do you think? Because Tom knows that Kubrick might know the triggers to play his wife like a fiddle. You know what I'm saying? So because Tom knows who she is and what she is and what, you know, and he's working with Kubrick because of what Kubrick can do for his career and turn, you know, and it's such an opportunity to be part of this artwork. And I believe that he got so pissed because, you know, and you can hear Nicole talking about how it works. Like, she would run through the lines so much that she would lose herself and become the character. You know, it's like switching alters, like all it. But it's all subtext. You got to read into what she says because, you know, there's Twilight language, the esoteric and the exoteric. You know, she gives us the exo all day, and we have to, you know, decipher the esoteric.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get back into the Fidelio experiment here in a second. I did just want to ask, as you mentioned, submersible units. For folks who aren't familiar with that term and how Stanley Kubrick incorporated that into his films, would love to hear a little bit more.
Okay. I learned this term from, I forget his name, the guy that wrote AI, Super Toys Last All Year or something. I forget Arliss. I forget his name. But anyway, he was in an interview talking about how he and Kubrick were working together to write AI, the script. And he was like, he got frustrated with Stanley. And Stanley told him, he said, look, forget all the dialogue. None of that matters. What matters is you want to build 6 or 7 non-submersible units. And that, by that he means things that stay above your liminal mind. Like, it doesn't fall away. You remember this image. Like the blood from the elevators of The Shining. Like, you know, and or like Jack's face through the door, you know. Like, those things stick in your head. And that way it can be referenced later. And it's like he's building the image, and that is what he's working with. And so, like, the way our brains dream, there's successive series of REM, like REM sleep. It goes up and down. It's like, it's not a constant, you know, it's not like you need to study this movie for a test and everything they said, you know. He's working with the way that our brains receive information. So these non-submersible units describe how his movies are built. And then and Arliss, I think is his name. I should have known. Anyway, he explains that once you get that, once you cognize that, you realize that's how all his films are, and that's what makes them great. Really, it's not the, like, look at what he did to The Shining. You know, he changed the story completely. He
Yeah.
chopped it up, like, but he was building a visual. He's a photographer. He's giving you images. So that's is basically, he controls the dream. You know, the movies are a darkened space where you're put into an alpha state, brainwaves, like you're
Hmm.
it's putting you in a trance. Just the nature of the space itself, and how the movie is given to you in this blackness. Uh, so he's
I
using
have a
that.
state of suggestibility as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. And in that suggestibility, he can layer in all those esoteric
Sure.
things.
Sure.
And if it is non-submersible, you can think about it later when you're going home from the theater and these images are stuck in your head. And then when you see the next movie, you recognize, oh yeah, like when you see Alice and Helena at the breakfast table eating breakfast, and Alice is reading the newspaper. That's the same. And like Helena is watching cartoons, and that's just the same as The Shining. When Danny is sitting watching uh watching the Roadrunner, and and then Helena is watching Bugs Bunny. And Bugs, like, what's up, Doc? Like, that's where he got Doc, is his nickname, and all that relates. And like, this child is abused in one way and this child's abused another way, and they both have dissociative traits, and they both have alter personalities. Oh, look at that. But you recognize that because of the kitchen table, and they're sitting, it's the same. And then you're like, then it clicks, like, and that way he's showing you the juxtaposition of the two are the same, and that in a way that's similar to this with the Fidelio that we're looking at. Like, if you skipped further into the Fidelio, into the third hour, you can see how all three screens relate, you know. And so that, I think, is how he's speaking with the images. He's able to burn it into your head, and then when it comes later, when you're contemplating, that's when you can figure out all the Easter eggs. You know, it's like, it's his language. It's how he's giving your brain the information. And because nobody's going to remember all the dialogue. I mean, everybody remembers a few lines from The Big Lebowski or some comedy they loved or something like that. But nobody, you know, the dialogue is not really what matters. It's the feeling and the image of the light that that's coming to your eyes, and the feelings that are engendered from that, and the sound. You know, that's what he's working with.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, I was 13 or 14, I saw A Clockwork Orange,
Nice.
you know, at the time in the theater. And what I remember more than anything else are those iconic images. I certainly didn't know of
Yes.
them as non-submersible units at the time, but you know, Alex, his first appearance on screen, and
Right.
being fed at the end are two iconic images that I
That's right.
still carry with me
That's right.
today.
And even the dialogue of that book was just some made up gobbledygook. You know what I mean? Right. It's all like whatever Ebonics was going to be, like, they, you know, the imaginative, like, how devolved will our language become, like, you know, 1984 type shit. But still, like, that, I'm glad that you understand. So, like, that's, hopefully the listeners understand that term, non-submersible, because of the idea of the liminal and the subconscious of your mind. Imagine, like, the subconscious is the waters, you know, and images that don't submerge are the ones that your conscious mind can still work on, can still pick apart, and still has a hold of, and it doesn't get lost into the abyss of the, you know, the right brain, like, you know, imagination. So that way, by making it non-submersible, it hangs on, and it concretizes in your mind. And that, I think, is why Kubrick became such a respected filmmaker, because of because really it is photography, the whole thing. And if you look at the best directors, and like really why Spielberg is loved so much is because of his lighting. Like the scene in E.T. with the guy running, the keys jingling and a flashlight in the darkness, those are visual elements that are really smart. He's very talented in that way. He's an immoral psychopath, but we don't need to get into him.
Right.
But, that's what people care about is the lighting, the feeling, the emotion, and that all comes from the image and what it's doing to your brain.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to the Fidelio experiment, and let me tee this up a little bit more, especially for folks who are just listening to the audio version. So what we've got on the screen is an episode from Sean's podcast, Wake the Dead, called Fidelio Experiment Deciphered. Definitely go subscribe and check out all his content. It's incredible. So what we've got is in the bottom left corner is Sean, where he's providing his commentary, and you've got a clock ticking up through the time throughout the movie. The top left, I believe, right, is the first movie?
Yes.
Okay, great. So right now we're an hour and 56 minutes in for the top left. He started the top right film when the top left hit an hour. So the top right is currently at 56 minutes. And then the bottom right will start when the top left hits 2 hours and the top right hits 1 hour.
Exactly.
Awesome. Anything else you want to tee up with what's going on in either of the two films at this point, or should we get going?
Well, how about we skip ahead to like maybe 58?
Sure.
Instead of making it a 4-minute thing, because our listeners' time is okay. So yeah, a little bit further here. Okay. So yeah, keep going. Let's get it up to. Okay, so here we go. So let's start from here. 1 hour 58 and 1 second, right?
Perfect. And just give me a shout if you want me to stop it again.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll just start talking, and you can either mute or pause. Okay.
Perfect. Great.
Stanley got started there around 2. Oh, in the village?
Believe it or not, I don't actually know the address.
So wait, okay. So they start around 2, and believe it or not, I don't know the address. It's different every time. Different place every time, right? So it may sound ridiculous. So, okay, they get started there around 2. Okay, so it's almost at 2 hours. So he's talking about the other frame is going to be 2, right? And he's talking about this one. So every place it's different every time. So every time that the 1 hour mark comes, it's different place in the timeline of the movie, but it is the same, right? He's sitting at a table here, and he's about to sit at a table with Sally, and he's learning information across this little table. It's the same, so go ahead and keep playing.
Great.
That sounds ridiculous.
It's in a different place every time, and I only get it about an hour or so before.
Different place every time. So
An hour or so. An hour.
I just played.
Yeah.
So you look at that. I just played the piano. He puts his hands up like he's gonna feel some titties. And what is Bill doing in the other frame? He's feeling her titties. I mean, whoa. Okay, sorry. Please continue. I just played the piano. Okay.
That's awesome.
I blindfold.
What?
I think there's
I play.
something that I should tell you.
Something I should tell you.
Yeah.
Really?
I just
No? It's true.
oh,
And the last time? Last time? Blindfold wasn't on so well.
Last time. 1 more minute until 1 hour.
Oh, man.
This is the last minute.
Bill, I have seen 1 or 2 things in my
Why
life.
don't you have said?
Never.
Never
Why do you have a seat?
have a seat. Never. Right.
Never.
Never such women. Well. Well.
No. Excuse me.
Quite know how to say this.
Hello.
How do we say this? Hello?
Yes, sir. This is Nick.
Considering that you were with Domino last night,
I know where that is.
I know where that is.
I think it would be only fair to you to let you know that
Mm-hmm. Right.
she got the results of the blood test this morning.
The results.
It
Blood
was
test.
Well, I'm on my way right now.
positive.
On my way right now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
She said, well, listen,
What is this?
what is this?
What's this?
It's the name of a Beethoven opera, isn't it?
HIV positive.
Beethoven.
It's the password.
The password. Do. The music starts. It's the password.
I'm really sorry to do this to you.
Right.
I got it.
Very sorry.
You don't know.
No way on earth. We already got the password. Right? Give me the address. Right. And then he's looking for his wallet. And that's the wallet is how he gets into everywhere. The wallet, you know, like, it just starts again. It's like, so then, so now he's like, oh, I'll be prepared to do that. Okay. But this is, you know, he's saying, oh, they only start about 2. And the last time, you know, he's saying this right as the clock is turning, the seconds. And then right exactly, I'm on my way right now is 100000, you know, all the way across. And it's like, holy crap, there's the password. So if you want to skip ahead now that we have the 3 screens, maybe you can skip to the part where on the 3rd screen we are just here. Let me see. Like,
Yeah, I can.
how about skip ahead maybe till they're entering Milich's right here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Did we start
so,
it?
Yeah, please.
Great.
So, good night, sweetheart. So, if you look, there's Milich
Very tense, awkward moment.
and the glass, and there's glass.
We're seeing the meeting again.
Okay, so this is where, so he meets Milich at the same time that he meets Ziegler. So that puts Milich and Ziegler in the same place, same type of character. And the way that they're going through, and then on the 3 hour, or, you know, 2 hours in, we've got this thug character who's also related to these two. Okay, so we are introduced to the enemy, right? And Merry Christmas, you know, and then we, you know, somebody else, another person discovered that says baby there on the, like he's gonna, like somebody deposits a baby into the mailbox there, like he's gonna steal a baby later. Like that one wasn't mine. I didn't find that, but it also folds into my theory. Like it all fits. Anyway, so like, if you keep playing, we'll see how these fit together.
Great.
237.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's the moment where we see 237 also.
I don't say that to all the women.
I wasn't aware that he says that to all the women. Top man in New York. Yes, I am.
Yes, he is.
So,
Just so
Mr.
you know,
Milich. Bing! Right? The noise, Mr. Milich. Bing! That tension sound from the 3rd screen, or the first one, on the top left. And then we see, he notices the guy following him. And then we see all the Milich. And then we see all the people at the party. All of them are like Milich. They're all evil psychopaths. And they all are connected to this guy. This is the cult without their mask, without their masks.
Yeah.
And he says, Mr. Milich, just to let you know that I really am. So he's like saying, I'm one of you guys. Come let me in. Come on. And it gets even more deeply esoteric when you watch this with The Shining, because this moment of please let me in is the same moment when Jack is at the bar and he says, I'd give anything for just a glass of beer. And Milich says, I don't think so, as a response. And then Bill says, how about $200? And then Jack says, I'd give my goddamn soul for just a glass of beer. And then Milich says, oh, okay, come on in.
Wow.
Right? Wow. Right? So, like, the drinking of the drink is the contact with the demons and the accepting of the contract with the evil. And he only steps through this door because he's going to make this deal with this evil people, right? And then, like, when he gets, if you play, you'll see as he gains entry into Milich's shop is when Alice at the party says, he plays pretty good for a doctor. He's not a doctor. Like, describing Milich is not a doctor. It's so next level. Yeah. So, I mean, like, you can continue playing if you want.
Yeah, for sure. I'll hit that. But real quick, you referenced a couple times 237. I was hoping you could highlight the significance of that number.
237 was, excuse me, 237 is the fear, is the room which houses the ghosts which attack Danny in The Shining. So it represents the contact with evil. So the moment, like, Danny goes into the room at, like, he first touches the doorknob at 42 minutes, and then he rides away on his bike or his trike into the Tesseract, the square within the square. But then the moment later when he goes, when Jack is having the bad dream and Wendy is consoling him, and then Danny walks in with his sweater torn and the bruise on his neck, and he's like sucking his thumb and, who did this to you? And then he goes to that room 237 and he communes with the evil. It's his meeting. He meets the evil at 237. So, like, in the beginning, Danny's like, Mr. Halloran, what is in room 237? And no, nothing. Stay out of room 237. So it is the fear. It is the contact with evil. That's kind of how I see what it represents. And in the screen on the left, where Bill is running away from the thug who's following him, when he hails the taxi, we can see above Bill's head the address of the building behind him is 237.
Wow.
So that's the moment when he feels the fear. Help, taxi, help! I'm trying to run away from this thing. So yeah, wow. It's kind of hard to find, but it is there. It's right above his head.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll keep it going.
Please.
You can see this. There's this famous photograph with Emilio in it.
Oh, right.
You are Stanley Kubrick. You made the photograph. FDR dies.
Not a soul, right?
For Look magazine. Look.
Basically, the reason is that
FDR died, but that paper says lucky to be alive. This is what you get for making
What you get is $100 over the rental price. $100.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. How about my goddamn soul? Okay, come on in. Okay. The moment he says okay is the moment the thug walks away. Okay. Come on in. I get the $200. And then the thug that's chasing, like, looks at him and then says, okay, and walks away. Like, it's so perfectly timed. And then we see the moment that he gets entrance into this cage, right? The Tesseract, the cage for his soul. He walks into, in the of the alarm, and you can't trust anybody these days, right? This is the moment when Alice says, oh, he plays pretty good for a doctor. Like, Bill had to play the game to gain entry into this doorway. And we see this in other movies like The Ninth Gate. Their Corso has to gain entrance into these doorways. Like when he goes to visit the woman in the wheelchair, he has to wait till the secretary is on her lunch break, and he goes up and he buzzes the door. And he's like, please let me in. And she's like, no, you can't come in. He's like, oh, but I'll let you read it. Or he says something to trick her into allowing him in. Yeah. And that is the same. It's like we have these doorways, like Erishkigal is set up for Inanna. She had to go through 8 doorways to get into the underworld. You know what I mean? In each successive doorway, she's losing a piece of herself, like her crown and her staff. And so it's like choosing to go and to lose the security of your integrity and to go into this other place that's ruled by evil, right? So that's what we see, and she's like, oh, he plays pretty good for a doctor, right? Yeah. So yeah, and lucky to be alive, right? Like on the newspaper, and I was talking about, you might have heard me say in the newsstand with Emilio that Kubrick is famous. Kubrick was recognized by taking a picture of a newspaper salesman at a newsstand, and it says FDR dies. And it was the day that FDR it was put in the newspaper, and the guy looked all sad. And Kubrick actually set it up. He told the guy to look sad. He was on his way to work or on his way to school, and he had his camera, and he's like, oh yeah. And he put together his composition. It's epic composition, just awesome. And he did this at 16, right? And that's what got him hired at Look magazine. That's what started his whole career, was this photograph of the guy at the newsstand. And instead of it saying FDR dies, it says lucky to be alive, right? He's like using the non-submersible unit of his childhood photography, even in Eyes Wide Shut. He's putting it on display. And he puts Emilio, who's like his family friend. Like I think he wrote a book about working for Kubrick, where that's Kubrick's driver. And it's like Kubrick's best friend. And he was there for him, like, through all the movies and doing everything he ever asked. He was like, Kubrick's right-hand man is Emilio right there. And it's like he enshrined Emilio in his, like, we can all remember Emilio, and look how, but anyway, the lucky to be alive shows the FDR dies. It shows that tension of the you almost died, and he's using that non-submersible unit to show us all of these levels. That's what I was talking about. I get into that. I go pretty deep with stuff. So, but yeah, people might not have recognized that when they just heard me say it. But anyway, that's what I was getting at there. And I don't know how much time you have, but if we could get into the big one, with all 10 screens.
Yeah, let's do it. That'd be
I
awesome.
don't It'll be fun because
Yeah.
I want people to see, because this, I mean, this I think we illustrated pretty well. There's another part. Actually, before we go, could we?
Sure.
The scene where in the top left, we see we're finding Mandy in the morgue.
Yeah.
Let's go to that.
Yep. And while I'm finding
Okay.
that, Sean, would you mind also explaining the Tesseract? You've mentioned that a few times too.
Okay, yeah, right. So the Tesseract is an occult symbol for mind control, slavery. It's David Icke talked about it a long time ago, the double square.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the 9/11 memorial, you got the double square.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a black cube, which is a recessed empty space which falls into the ground. There's two of them, and the water flows into these square holes, and the big square hole has another square inside it when you look down in, and the waters are like all the tears and the emotions of all the people that it hurt it hurt us so much, that this emotional attack that they did to us, and so that the Tesseract is the hypercube. It is an extruded cube, and if you think about planes of okay, so our existence, 3 dimensions, right? If you think of one dimension is a dot. You extrude that into a line, that's 2 dimensions. You extrude that into a plane, extrude that into a line, that's still the 1, and then into a plane that is 2 dimensions, like paper, like we have an image on the paper. Mm-hmm. You extrude that up into a cube. That square turns into a 3-dimensional cube, right? And what happens when you extrude the cube into a 4th dimension? So the way that mathematics illustrates this is, if you see the hypercube, it's a cube within a larger cube, and then the inner cube transforms to the outer cube, and then the outer cube turns into the inner cube again. And it's continually, it's like a Mobius strip. It goes forever like that. So the inner cube is forever trapped. It can never escape. And it's trapped within the outer cube by trapezoids. The name trap is even in the word. And trapezoid itself, that too is a highly satanic symbol. We see it on the back of the dollar bill, like the pyramid, unfinished pyramid is a trapezoid. And that the eye above it is the Lord or whatever, beyond our dimension, in the 4th dimension, looking in through the little cut in the sky, looking down into our 3 dimensions, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about, like, if a 3-dimensional, like the sun, so let's say a 3-dimensional ball represented on a 2-dimensional plane is just a circle, right? And then so that circle is, like, if you can imagine, it is just a slice of the ball, right? Mm-hmm. But then if you think about what is the sun, like a 4-dimensional thing that's expressing into our 3rd dimension, like you would think if you were viewing a 4-dimensional sphere, it would look like a sphere to us in 3 dimensions. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so there's the mathematics of the 4th dimension was, I forget the author, but he wrote a book called The Plane World or something. It was about a 2-dimensional world where people are trying to understand a 3rd dimension.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like us in our dimension trying to understand the higher levels of spirit and the fourth dimension beyond, right?
Makes sense.
Right. So like the tesseract is a representation of the inner cube never gets free. And the outer cube rules that inner cube.
Mm.
And it's like a representation of the hell, the Gnostic hell, of the way that the dark occult envisions this world.
Yeah.
There is Yaldabaoth, like,
yeah, the
this
archontic
Gnostic-
inversion.
right.
Yeah.
Like, so you got this Gnostic creator that isn't the actual creator. He created a illusory space to trap our souls. And that is what this 3 dimensions is. And in order to free yourself from the 3rd dimension, you must go beyond.
Mhm.
Like Jesus got free, Buddha got free. You know, that's how, and Jesus and Buddha got through by morality, by the way. You know, and Satanists don't like that. But like this is the idea of escaping our realm and getting to like heaven or whatever the next place is, the plus ultra, to get beyond. Tracy Twyman got deep into that. She was really great. And the way that she described it, it's like when you're in the old days with boats, like sailing ships would have what's almost like a jewel, and it's cut in a way like a diamond, and it fits into the floor of the deck on the top, so that it takes the light from above deck and it refracts it down into the lower spaces. And that like crystal is the lighting fixture of the lower decks. They didn't have electricity and stuff. So they had to capture the upstairs light and funnel it down into the underworld. Right. So that's like that, like the triangle of the eye on the dollar bill is that thing, you know, it's above us. And so it's as if there is a mathematical way to break free from this world without doing the morality first. And that's what Corso achieves in the Ninth Gate. And he goes to a Cathar castle, and the Cathars were Gnostic, and they did this consolamentum before they died, where they tried to purify themselves before they went, so that they didn't have to be reincarnated and to come back into this place. And so like the reincarnation is the trap. Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, that whole idea, that's what Tesseract is depicting. And also the prison of the inner cube, that too. Mm-hmm. So when we see Jack, the Jack in the Box, I use that term to describe Jack in the Overlook is the Tesseract, and Jack is a soul trapped there. The Tesseract is a timeless space. So like the 4th dimension, time is not linear. It happens all at once. That's how demons can know information from the future, because it's all happened at once for them. And that's how that's why they're able to perceive such, you know, and have these powers, because they experience time differently. They do not, to them, it's like, you know, we got height, depth, width, and for them, they got time also.
Yeah.
Like, so that way, everything that's happening is all, anyway, it's a lot. Yeah. But the trap for our souls is like being trapped in time. And so the Tesseract is also depicted as, so like the floor of the House of Freemasonry is called a tessellated array.
Yeah.
They are tessellated. The squares, it's a bunch of squares in a field of squares, right? So that if you think about the last image of The Shining, he's Jack is there in the center square, and then you pull back and there's all the other squares, and it's as if, and it's timeless because it says 1922 July 4th, but it's also happening now, and it's like Jack is in a continual happening of all time at once, and this is the nightmare that he's trapped there killing his family forever.
Wow.
That's what The Shining really is, to me, is how I view it. And then when you look at Danny on his trike going down the hallway, when you see the frame of the hallway, the doors at the far end of the hallway is the inner cube. And the outer cube is the framing of the full frame. And then, and as Danny travels towards the inner cube, that towards the end of the hallway, it gets bigger. And it becomes the outer cube. And then he continues to ride down, and there's more, square down, and he just keeps going. And so Danny is representing the extrusion of the cube, of the cubes within the cube.
Yeah.
And then when you get that and you understand that, there, like when Jack is like he kissed the old lady in the 237 and he's disgusted and he's backing away and he closes the door and locks it, you can see that Kubrick framed around Jack's head is a square of light behind him. He frames within a frame Jack's head. And then Jack recedes back into the squares of the hallway. So like the hallways and the endless tunnel of the hallways is the extruded cube, is the trap of the soul. It is the hell. Jack is in hell.
Wow.
Right. And that's why those demons can play with him and stuff, because they're there too.
Yeah.
They're all psychos there. And they're trapped there forever. God won't let them have another life because they're evil. It's like Sobek of the Egyptians sending the soul to the lake of fire or whatever, consuming the soul, and it doesn't get the gift of being reincarnated into this, wonderful place. Right. Yeah. So that's what does that make sense to you, Tesseract?
It does. It's really helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. That's great. It's kind of a big topic. If people want to learn more about it, they can look. Mark Passio talks about it. David Icke even talks about it somewhat. But Passio's really good for that.
Yeah. Great.
But anyway.
Anyway, Sean, we can keep going on the Fidelio Experiment. Is this a good spot to start it?
Yes, please. Play it from there. 2 hours and 7 minutes and 10 seconds. Here we go.
All right.
Curran.
What on earth is going on here?
That's right. I can get how uncomfortable he was.
What did I do?
She died this afternoon. Promised I'll kill you.
Gentlemen, have you no sense of decency?
Have you gone crazy?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is my daughter. Couldn't you see she's a child? You will have to explain to police.
See that? Here, pause it, please.
I'll kill you for this.
So, my name is Alice Harford. This is my daughter. Can't you see? Right? She's deranged. Right? She is. She's mind controlled. She, And then I promise I'll kill you as she's running. And then what happened to Mandy? She gets killed, right? And you've ever read the Latin poet Ovid. I just love how Kubrick, he made a string of light go from Xandor Zavost's mouth to Alice's ear as if he's speaking a magic spell to her. I mean, just the imagery is so beautiful. But please continue.
Beautiful.
I'll kill you! Hold on to the gun for me!
Hold on to that girl.
This is preposterous.
One.
The young lady invited us here.
All by himself.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
In some ways.
Watch the doors.
Very bad climate.
I'm afraid it's out of the question. Doctor, sorry, what color did you say? Black. Gentlemen, please, have the goodness to be quiet for the moment. Couldn't you see I tried to serve my customer?
Her husband is the customer. You depraved creature. Go to bed at once.
Depraved creature. What do you do, Alice?
What do you do?
Dead?
Pause it right there.
She's
What
all three. Mate,
What do you do? And Lily Sobieski is showing her body, trying to get him to buy her wares, her pussy. And what else does she do? She dies. She's lying dead in the morgue. And what else does she do? She's dancing and making babies for the cult in the third frame, right? And I used to run an art gallery, but it went broke, it went broke. Like this slave up there in the top left went broke. Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
I have some friends in the art game that can help you. And the art game is a whole other thing. But really, we can see there, like, holy crap, that's all three. And I don't know if you guys have any more, like, do you want to get in on this one? But if you want to move on to the time code. So do you guys, does this make sense to you about how the three frames relate? Do you see what I see?
Yes, absolutely.
I agree. I see in this particular situation where I've never seen these three screens together at once like this. This person that's following Bill, he I think purposely looks like Aleister Crowley, the high priest of the occult, or the high priest of the cabal.
Wow, I never thought about that. Yeah, he does look just like, with the bald head and the. Wow. The more I talk to people, the more I learn. This is great, John. Thank you for that. I'm just going in there now. It's like, it's thinking, really awesome. Yeah, it's true, because Crowley is such a integral part of this. Crowley teaches them so much about the demon realms and the, communing with the evil. Wow.
And Sean, on the art piece, I've heard you mention in another episode about how Mentmore Towers, where the outside was filmed, was an art gallery. I thought that was really interesting too.
Yeah, that was actually Europe's first portrait gallery.
Wow.
Portraits, not just art, portraits. And then you look, Milich has portraits in his billiard room. And the billiard table happens... Ziegler, right. Ziegler has... In the billiard room, he's got portraits up on the walls. And this hit me like a lightning bolt too. I think I was high at the time, but still, I recognized, because Room 237, one of the people, I forget who it was talking about how the red carpet is just like the red pool table. And I'm like, oh yeah, duh. Red is the opposite of cyan. Cyan is cyan is the normal pool table color, is cyan. All pool tables basically are cyan. And it's odd to have it be red. So it makes your brain look at it, right? And then he taps the cue ball like the guy does on the red carpet. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, that's how that is. And then I realize those portraits above the pool table, just like the guy on the balcony above the red carpet looking down and giving the nod. And that mask had a tricorn hat. And then you look at the portrait above the fireplace in Ziegler's billiard room is holding a tricorner hat. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh my God, that's the ancestors of the people that are at the party. And look, they're not wearing masks. You can see their faces. Right? And it's like the way that Kubrick is able to reveal them without their mask. Mm-hmm. And then it also it illustrates the generational phenomenon. You know what I mean? Ziegler inherited that house. He inherited that mask. His dad was doing it. His grandpa was doing it. They've been breeding these women forever, like so long. Yeah, right? Since Babylon, right? So this is what I saw in the portraits. And then I'm like, holy shit, Quilty hides behind a portrait in Lolita. And what is Lolita about? Like, and it like sent me down this. Like that was one of the first podcasts I did about Stanley and Eyes Wide Shut with Mark Devlin years and years ago on his Good Vibrations podcast. I was like, look how Lolita fits with Eyes Wide Shut. And it all happened because of that realization of the portrait. And then you think about Quilty. What is Quilty?
Yeah.
Who is Quilt? He is the guys at the party, the nouveau riche with this disheveled house and just wants to rape children. And you know what I mean? Like, what is those people? Like, that's Millich. It's the same, you know? And then he's like, as before Quilty dies, he says to Humbert, he says, I can fix it so that you can watch executions.
Yeah.
He's so powerful that he can, don't you want to watch? Just don't you want to watch? And it's like, we are watching. Don't you like to watch, And Kubrick is giving us this. And he hides behind the portrait. Like in the beginning scene, when we first see the inside of the mansion, that portrait is on the floor by the door, on the first floor, and it's on its side. And then when Quilty's climbing up the stairs after he gets shot in the leg, the portrait's at the top of the stairs. What? So right there, it makes us pay attention because of the incongruity of, like, it's not where it used to be. And now we're paying attention to how it's different, because our brains are trained to find inconsistencies. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I notice, that portrait's not there anymore. It's at the top of the stairs, and he climbs up the stairs, and he climbs behind the portrait to hide. And then Humbert shoots the portrait. He's shooting them. And I'm like, oh my God, look. And it's the same. It's the same. The portraits of above the billiard table is the portrait of the rich mansion, is what Kubrick. And then I found an image of Stanley during the filming of Lolita, and it's like a still photograph of him pointing a handgun straight at the camera, smiling, like it's him pulling the trigger. Mm-hmm. And then you look at Full Metal Jacket, and you look at how they treat, I believe that Joker and Gomer Pyle are representations of Kubrick himself. And I think Kubrick is trying to depict him working for them. The cult of the military is the dark occult. And they are the more organized apes, like when they're beating the guy, they're all like a troop of apes when they go in the night and they go get their soap. So it's like Kubrick depicting his experience working for them.
Yeah. And
how humiliating it was, and how he had to endure all this crap just to make the art, right? And then when Gomer Pyle's brain is broken, but he all of a sudden finds his will. And his will is to learn how to use that weapon that they are teaching him to use. Like, they probably taught him about this dark occult shit.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And he formed it into a weapon. And now, like, the guy who yells at him all the time, Hartman, is saying, we finally found something you do well. And that's shooting. Like shooting a camera and shooting a gun This is what Kubrick does well. And so they're using him for their means. They induct him into this thing, and he complies in order to make his art. He wants to have all the resources, but he knows they're evil,
Right.
and so this Lolita and his films are the gun. And he's putting these images, non-submersibles, into our head to show us the true nature of our rulers, to give us the spark to shoot them in the face.
Yeah. Wow.
I think that's what it is.
Wow.
I think he's an anarchist at heart,
Well, and it's a great point you bring up there, Sean. I think it's clear, given who he was connected to in Hollywood and the themes that he exposed in his films, that he clearly knows much more than the average profane person.
Right.
Now, I'm curious, do you think there's any possibility that Stanley himself was just a lifelong member of the cult, and this is all just revelation of method, and maybe he was in on it the whole time, maybe he even faked his own death? Like, do you think there's any possibility to any of that?
Wow. No. No. I see his art as being it is honest, and you can see the moral we can see him conflicted morally.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see him working out those ideas. And being an artist and learning about art, how to see art, I think art is an expression of the self, the soul, and the humanity of the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see any. I don't see any falsehoods or I don't see him being a con artist.
Mm-hmm.
I see him revealing the truth, and he's not trying to lead us down some path. Please believe this, global warming, or whatever, government is good, or whatever they try to teach you in the normal movies with where they give you the American flag right when the hero wins, and the programming that normal movies do.
Yeah.
I don't see him doing that. And with the way that he took his young family of all girls and moved away from Hollywood.
Yeah.
And kept that safe life away from them. I believe he knew what he was dealing with. And I think that he had a moral core, and he wanted to keep his daughters safe,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted to be a real human amidst all of them. I think he was trying to find a way to juggle it, and the art is his brain and his heart working out those moral factors. Like, he did work with them, and he is part of their cult, but he didn't, he sees what it is, and he probably didn't drink the drink that Jack drank. You know what I mean? He might have signed the contract that Alex signed, which just so happened they signed the contract right when he drinks the drink. Those also line up. But I believe he was aware, and his I don't see any deceit in his work, and I've looked a lot.
Well, I would agree. In a general sense, the argument can be made that he was part of the cabal, but I don't think so. I think it's just simply a matter that to get done what he needed to get done, he had to work with them. It's kind of like, if you're going to build a large building in Manhattan or something like that, you're going to have to work with the mafia, when it comes to the concrete contract or whatever the case may be. You have to work with them. The thing that I think Kubrick does, though, is he uses his weapon, which is his genius, and he's allowed into the inner circle, so to speak, but then he turns that uh, against them almost without their knowledge in a lot of different ways, because he is
Yeah, good
so
point.
incredibly creative and intelligent.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what that image of him pointing the gun right at the camera. It's like it's all perfectly encapsulated. Like these films are the weapon.
Yeah.
Like the art of the film is like the art of Beethoven. It is the weapon which attacks the psychopath. They lose their control and their power when he's using their weapon against them. Like the writer, I forget the character's name, in A Clockwork Orange, uses the weapon against the psychopath. He learns that Beethoven is the key, and then he gets the speakers on the billiard table, like, going up, and then behind him, there's a guy like contemplating the portrait on the wall. He's just staring at the portrait. Why did Kubrick do that? Like, why did he make him look at the portrait and the billiard table? Like, it's all, and he's like, and then Ziegler says, "Just let me be Frank." Oh yeah, the character's name was Frank. Oh yeah, like it. So, yeah, it all references itself, and it's all like one huge weapon.
Yeah.
And it's so perfectly made, and it lasts forever. People it's such high art. It will last like Michelangelo's David is still here, but Michelangelo's long gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We still get the ideas that Michelangelo was trying to portray and trying to give to us. That lives on forever. And in order to make that thing, he did have to work for them. They had all the money, and and really, like, the weapon of culture is the story.
Mm-hmm.
They create the narrative. Like the whole thing with the 9/11. Oh yeah, jet fuel, melted steel beams. Like that's
Found a passport right outside the building.
Yeah. As they reported, he says, "If you can believe that." Like, oh, dude, wow. But I mean, like it shows that this totally story is how they control our minds. It is how they keep themselves on the top of the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
The story, like, so, and we believe the story, his story of the fiction of our past, and like the whole thing, what like Bill Blakemore talked about in Room 237, like what The Shining is, like all of our past, the evil of the past all together. And just like what Jack has to deal with, the evil of his own past is now he's in this trap of hell, and it's replaying forever, and this timeless space of, wouldn't it be a total nightmare if you were chopping up your own family? I mean, like, I don't want that. I don't want to have to be that and do that forever. But that's what he agreed to be part of this, and then yeah. So, and all of his films, each one shows us another view of the whole cult. Like A Clockwork Orange shows us how they do the mind control, the hardcore, sensory images, and the pain. He's feeling pain as it's happening because of the drug, so for him, it's trauma-based mind control, and it's depicting that, but it also depicts how the total psychopath gets inducted into the cult at the end of the movie. He gets hired. That's what really the movie's all about, is how do people like Milich get their job? How did Kathy O'Brien's dad get hired by the government? Well, he was trading videos or like films of his naked daughter and selling them through the mail. And the government found that and was like, "Oh, we can work with you. Sell us your daughter and we won't send you to jail." Right? So like that, the Clockwork Orange is showing us that Alex is the perfect psychopath. He is the perfect psychopath. He even imagines his perfect, like he wishes he could be one of the Roman guards flogging Jesus as Jesus is being crucified, wearing the highest fashion and getting to sleep with all the whores. And if you look at the whores that he's sleeping with, have a dissociative blank stare as they lie next to him, because it's the same that's been going on since then. Those whores are the same as Alice, right? And so it's depicting how the psychopaths get to where they are. And then in Eyes Wide Shut, we see how Milich creates this blackmail situation for the Asians, the pedophiles. And that shows us more about it gives us the building blocks of their whole structure of how they enslave us. It's showing us, like, each film, like the military mind control, creating. He even tells us, like, in the monologue, Joker is saying the military doesn't want robots. It wants, men that are like a robot. I forget how he puts it. But in the end, they're singing the Mickey Mouse Club song. You know what I mean? Like, it's been, their whole life has been programmed to turn into that.
Yeah.
Like, like the whole plan of Vietnam and having a war and killing off that whole generation of baby boomers. That was part of the plan in the 40s and 50s too. Like, you know what I mean? They were raising the kids to grow up to be put into the meat grinder because of the population boom. They knew they had to kill off all these people. So it's like, and we can see it, and so Kubrick is depicting each one of his films, shows us another view, and AI was going to be another view too, of the pedophilia. And some of those elements even survived into the Spielberg film. Go ahead, please.
In many of his films, he's commenting on this illusion of pedophilia and other similar crimes as being punishable. But what happens is, in this situation, Alex is simply mind controlled. But at the end, he's released. He's
Right.
free, and he's free to do the things that they wanted him to do in the first place. So this illusion of punishment
I'm cured,
is simply
all right.
that.
Yep.
They want
Yep.
psychopaths.
Exactly. They want the perfect psychopath to work for them as they're like feeding him with a fork. He's just like, yeah, yep. Eating it, totally accepting what's given to him. And then if you look at, like, how the programming works with the program multiple, like the Alice in Wonderland had, like, she would, in the behind the looking glass, she would take this lunch pail off a tree, and then the ingestion of that is like, Fritz Springmeier teaches us, that's the ingestion of the programming, the willing acceptance of the programming. And it, the guy who runs the prison, Frederick, who is telling Alex, "We've got a good job for you with great pay, and you're going to be well taken care of, and you're just who we need," it's like being hired by the Romans to be the guy that whips Jesus. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll work for you, please. And then if you also find that his droog buddies got hired to be cops, that makes sense, right? Of course, exactly. Because that's what cops are. They have to be psychopaths to beat their neighbors in the head and put them in a cage. It shows, like, all of it. And it's like I wish he had more films. I mean, it makes sense that he didn't make the Aryan Papers because of how absolutely depressing it is to show that. If like, we understand that, like, fellow rabbit hole aficionados know that it was we know that this was the plan.
Sean, do you want to keep going on the Fidelio Experiment, or we could also flip over to the one with 10 films if you'd rather do that too?
Yeah, let's flip over to the next one. So this is Fidelio Time Code, I call it.
Okay.
Fidelio Time Code on 10 screens.
All right. Perfect.
Because I started it with only a few, and I'm like, wow, look, The Shining, and as I kept discovering more movies fit, I just kept adding them. And so like, oh, here's 5 screens, here's 8 screens, and now 10 is like where I've got up to 10.
Yeah. All right. Headless Giant or Do It Live.
Do It Live. Keep scrolling. Do we have more? No.
Maybe
Okay. Oh, it's not there. It's you got to look on. Okay, you got to look on either Rumble or Odyssey, because if you go to Rumble's Wake the Dead.
All right, cool.
Because I didn't post it on YouTube because of the copyright stuff. They're real tough with that. And Odyssey works on a blockchain system, so they can't censor. So Odyssey has it, and Rumble also accepted it. Let me post it too. So
okay, cool. All right, I just pulled up your Rumble.
Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, so the listeners might find that not everything is on YouTube.
Yeah,
I don't post everything on YouTube because for a while there they kept erasing stuff, and I didn't want to lose the channel, so I just didn't post. I just put it everywhere else, like Spotify.
Yeah. No, it's funny. John and Maya's interview got blocked on YouTube for the copyright thing too.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you scroll and scroll, keep scrolling. Yeah, maybe next page.
Do you know how long ago it would have been?
I don't know. It's probably this, maybe last year. Within this year, like maybe the next page. I think you'll start seeing a bunch of Fidelios. Okay, there we go.
This Do It Live one? Or no, that's
the Do It Live is good. I described a lot, but scroll up a little bit, maybe. Nope, next page. Sorry, guys.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry, I post a lot.
Yeah, no
there's
worries.
Jack in the Box. Okay, below that, time code on 10 screens.
Perfect.
Right there. So I'm thinking about starting a whole new YouTube channel that's just Kubrick, because it's kind of hard to find all, because there's all kinds of, Wake the Dead has a lot of stuff. I might just do a specific Kubrick channel for YouTube, because a lot of people, they think the whole internet is just YouTube, and they won't look anywhere else, and they don't want to scroll through either too. So like, I might make it easier for them, but still. So this here, Wake the Dead presents Fidelio Time Code on 10 screens: A Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, The Shining, Dr. Strangelove, Lolita, 2001, Full Metal Jacket, and Eyes Wide Shut. And Eyes Wide Shut, I used 3 screens for that. So, yeah, if you want to maybe start from the beginning, and then we can just, just go ahead and let it play. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, great. It's a little loud, but okay. So
yes.
This is the opening of all of them. Eyes Wide Shut, we see his eyes. See the eyes staring as you see Eyes Wide Shut. And the working on the brain, it's mind control. And so he's in the dark there. Okay, so we get to the 1 minute. Yeah, okay. And have you seen my wallet? Okay, Quilty, Peter Sellers. Okay, it's setting the scene. And Alex is watching all of it. He's watching. He sees it. He's aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
So, you're not even looking. Is my hair okay? Stanley Kubrick film. It's great. You're not even looking at it. He turns and looks at her right when Shelley Duvall happens. That's the wife. And there's the wife above. That's the mom of Barry Lyndon. You see the people as furniture. Okay. All right. I'm ready. She looks in the mirror, right? The first words, your filthy sewers would be, sir, right? Okay. Closing the door. Moving on to the next scene of Eyes Wide Shut, right? So then as it's rolling.
Don't we keep going?
Yeah, please. And so the music, this 2001 is making this wah, this loud wah. And that I always wondered why they have 3 minutes of just music, blank screen.
You are nothing but unorganized, rabastic pieces of amphibian shit.
Right? Okay. So as like the music is, it slows down loud enough for us to hear Hartman. And then it makes me think that this music is on purpose. It swells up at certain moments and it lets down in certain moments so that we can hear the audio of the dialogue. And if you pay attention to A Clockwork Orange, the old man in the street, he's like telling the whole thing, saying there ain't a soul on this planet. That's what's wrong with this world. It's like Kubrick saying. So please continue here.
There is no racial bigotry here. I do not look down on bigoted
Here you are all equally worthless in this hell. This hell, we are all equally worthless. Just thrown away by God, right? So I can't hear you. And then in the other one, we hear the singing. And Alex says, I could never, the filthy, dirty old drunkie. And there's Ziegler, filthy, dirty old drunkie, singing the songs of his fathers. Right? The ancestors of what Ziegler. And like, I'll say that to all the women, do I? Right? Okay. And 3 minutes and 13. Who the fuck said that? And they're all, yay. In the top corner of A Clockwork Orange. Can you spare some cutter, me brothers? Nobody, huh? The fairy fucking godmother. Like, bum bum. I'll show you. Sticking old world like this, and we see the world. What's so sticking about it? Not a soul, she says in the middle. Are you Quilty? This world is full of Quilties. It's no world for an old man any longer. This is what you get for making house calls. And he punches him in the stomach. You little scumbag, I got your ass, And we see the ping pong table of the pedophilia over there. And he says, we're staying on the ball. I just noticed that. The ball, right? Pause it, please.
Yeah.
Right. Over in Dr. Strangelove, the British guy, Mandrake, is saying to Ripper, oh, we got to stay on the ball. Baal, right? If you look at 2001, A Space Odyssey, that symbol there, this image of the circle with the crescent, that is the symbol of Baal Haman, the male consort of Tanit, the god and goddess of the Phoenicians.
Wow.
The starts with Carthage. The Carthaginians were the sea power of the Phoenicians is the power of the Venetians. The financial power of is the power of England, of the city-state of Rome, or not Rome, of England, the city-state of London. And then you've got the city-state of Rome and the city-state of Washington, D.C. These they worship Tanit. They sacrifice children to Tanit. And you learn about this by looking into history and looking at the goddess cults of Inanna and Ishtar and Tanit. It's the same goddess. And that is the 8-pointed star that we see at the Christmas party. Ziegler's house, yes. And Alice's head is framed in that 8-pointed star because she represents the goddess Tanit. And on their tofets, they put that image there of the solar disk with the crescent, and the disc right above the crescent, you can look at the ancient Tophets with the child sacrifice bones in the little urns buried there in a chthonic realm under the ground is where they hold these ceremonies. And this is what is depicted. Dun, dun, boom, right there. 2001, the year that they took control of the world. 2001.
Wow.
9/11. 9/11 is 2001, is the first year of their new millennium. The first, right? And this, what's wrong with this world? Not a soul. She's like, she asks him, like, do you know anyone here? He says, not a soul. And then when we see later, we see that played again. And that's when Jack is saying, when Alex is signing the contract and Jack is taking the drink, I'll give my goddamn soul for just a glass of beer.
Mm-hmm. And
that's what it is. He's talking about our souls in this realm. Like, that's how deep it goes. It's something else. Maybe I take too much drugs, but so yeah, that's I kind of went on a tangent there, but it makes sense, right? Do you guys believe? Do you guys, agree?
I would totally agree
Totally.
with that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, we don't need to like see the whole, but if you skip around on that time code, you will find stuff that I didn't find. It's just so much there.
Yeah.
Like I said, the CRM 114 gets that message right at the 7 minutes, right when Xandor picks up her drink, and she's like, it changes everything. And at the 1 hour moment is the point of no return, when the characters have to, they can't go back to the beginning, and they move past the threshold where they have to go on into the hero journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I almost believe that, like, when Bill walks down into the Sonata Cafe, and the red on the walls and the mirrors and the Tesseract lighting fixture, it's a square within the square above his head as he walks down the stairs to meet with the thing. Yeah. And then at the end, he realizes how much trouble he's in, and he brings it to Ziegler's attention. And then Ziegler gives him some cognitive dissonance. And he's like, hey, people die all the time, life goes on
right, Bill?
Until it doesn't. But you know that, don't you? Right. So then Bill realizes, oh, I should choose to believe the lie because it's too hard to know the truth. And just like all of us, when we saw Loose Change for the first time, some of us are just like, no, can't, no, will not. They want to be like Cyrus and eat the steak and go back into the Matrix. It is a point of no return. Right?
Yeah.
It is a conscious choice. I think that, like, this world, this realm, I believe it to be consent-based. And that's why they do all of their revelation of the method and this, like, they could just do what they're going to do. But yeah, the contracts thing is important. And if you look at what a lot of, like, the Christians talk about, Jesus helps to release us from this contract. And he is like our advocate in the courts of heaven, right? So they say that. So if you're with Jesus, that's why the demons are so scared of that. Ooh, Jesus is the only one who can really make them shake in their boots, because the contracts are what's binding them. Like, what binds what binds the demons in their hierarchical structure of obedience to the higher Lord of Darkness, or whatever it may be, that force, is a contract. They are bound in there. They are allowed to have their fun within the boundaries of their little box that is the brick that holds up the whole pyramid. And the demons they give us the same, they mirror their demon realm into this world with the hierarchy of the Pope and the bishops and that whole shit. Like, and the obedience to your master. And you have no will. You must do what you're told. That's what Satan is. Mm-hmm. And so, like, that's how all of the evil in this world gets, you know, like Hitler would be a crazy guy on the train and nobody would pay him any attention if everybody wasn't listening to him, you know, if he wasn't. So they have to agree to pull the trigger for Hitler. You know, the cop has to agree to put you in a cage for cannabis. So it is consent based. And it's the same thing with like with a contract. They have to give you informed consent. Like you have to, they have to give you the information before you agree to it. And if this world is, if we are co-creating this world, which makes sense, if because I am creating my reality, I am thinking first and then I do, and that others are thinking and doing and creating what they create, and what I create commingle in this world, and it creates this structure of what we live in, this, you know, this infinite web of like lives intersecting and creating what we have, like cause and effect, right? Our mind is the cause and we create is the effect. And so we are co-creating this world. In order to do so, we have to agree to it, because I only create what I agree, I only do what I want. So they have to capture our will. They have to hijack our will. And a contract is the most definite. Okay, I agree. My will is yours now. Signed. So that's what Alex is doing when he signs for the Ludovico method. That's what Jack does when he gets like when you drink a drink, it changes it is consent based. You don't put the drink to your lips unless you choose to. You don't swallow unless you choose. It is all internal. It's you who's doing it. They can tell you, drink it, swallow. Well, all they can do is keep yelling. They can hurt you. They can kill you. But you have to choose. So that's what this is. So they have to give us, they needed to show us, they need to give us that for us to agree. Mm-hmm. In order for us to agree to 9/11 and to believe that the cognitive dissonance, it is a willful act. Mm-hmm. That is the magic.
The magic is in our consent.
We're all perceiving in our imagination first, and then that is the cause that and then our actions are the effect. And we're all dealing with the actions of the immorality of everyone, agreeing to the cult. Yes, I'll kill my baby. Oh, I don't have enough money to have a baby. I need money, right? And money is this illusory thing. Like, so, and like people are aborting their babies because they don't want to hurt the planet. Oh, carbon footprint of my baby. Like, it's all illusions to make you agree with sacrificing your own child to their dark goddess, Tanit. Same shit. It's still happening. Like the circumcision of little babies. Same shit. The Jews were sacrificing on the 8th day their babies. Oh, instead of, maybe we'll just chop the tip off. And the whole thing with Abraham, you're going to kill your son. Nah, just cut the tip off, just to prove that, because in the old days, when you killed your enemy, you chop off the foreskin as proof. And like David would take this many foreskins, like they would, in order to, like, as a dowry to give for a marriage, you got to bring this many foreskins to prove you're a good warrior, to show that you've vanquished this many, right? So, like, it's true. Yeah, that's another thing I talk about a lot, circumcision. I mean, but I'm attacking the dark occult, and I'm just attacking that mind control. And for us to agree to give our baby, that is, again, the ultimate uh, consent into evil.
Yeah.
And it has always been that. And they've always asked for our babies, just like what that evil witch Dolly Parton did. She gave this the sign of the devil horns and says, "Oh, thank you." What's her face? That famous
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Yep. Yeah. "Oh, thank you for giving my organization $2 million. Now I want your firstborn child." As she does this with her hands, "Give me your firstborn child, please," to the camera, because she has to show it. They got to give it out. They got to make it visible, but they got to show it in a way that nobody notices.
Yep.
But a lot of us are catching on, like you guys are.
Yeah, thank God. And is that really consent if no one really understands what they're saying?
And we've had people like John Todd and Fritz Springmeier, and like we've had this, like they've been telling us over and all these years. I mean, Russ Dizdar, that dude is such a hero. Like what he did in his life. I mean, and they've given up their lives for this.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to recognize, oh my God, I do not want to give my baby to them.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to comply with their evil.
Mm-hmm.
And Kubrick agreed. I think Kubrick was on humanity's side.
I would agree totally.
Yeah. The slaves that had the chains on their necks, they didn't have to pick the cotton. They could have died. They could have taken the other option, but they love their life and their instinct tells them to stay and not die. So they comply. Like we always have a choice. We don't have to swallow the drink. We can spit it out because it's ultimately, I control my body. My body is mine. My mind controls my body and my soul controls my mind, and that is mine. And that is a gift that God gave us and they can't take that. We have to give it up. We have to give it up. So that's what all of this is about. If they were just going to stomp our heads and take what they want, they would have done that a long time ago. The story that I mentioned earlier and what you were talking about, the whole narrative of that, what they're creating is that which creates the compliance. That is the magic spell.
And on that note, that was the last topic I wanted to make sure to ask you about, Sean, with regards to, and it's something John and I talked about too when we talked about the film, is the practice of both demonic invocation and necromancy that we see in the film. So would love your thoughts on all that. And, do you think that when these rituals take place in real life, that there are actual demons that they're interacting with as part of these ceremonies?
It's interesting that you brought that up, Jordan, because I had wanted to ask Sean this very question. Do we think that they are actually imbuing these to-be-born babies with the spirits of demons, or are these innocent souls that are being, brought into these babies, and then they are later corrupted? I'm not certain about that. What's your opinion, Sean?
I believe they are innocent souls. I think the source of life is good and love, and they the torture and ritual ceremonies help the demons ride in. So the soul is there, but it's pushed aside and not allowed to have control of the body. I've discovered this through talking to the victims and the people that have, like, they have a soul. It's not like they're born demon. Like Les Wexner. I believe that he started as an innocent baby. And
I just moved to a new home after spending the last 5 years in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I live near Cleveland, and it's like, he takes over, right? It's like they own this state. Basically, he owns the state, right?
And I've lived my entire life in Ohio.
Wow.
Columbus is run by Les Wexner. His
Right.
name is on every hospital in the city.
So I believe that I do believe that demons are real, and I do believe that they are riding in on the souls.
Mm-hmm.
And they, just like what the Haitians and the voodoo, like they are incarnating the other spirit into their body, and they're allowing the incarnated spirit to take control of them as they do their ceremony. They'll eat glass or they'll drink booze and not feel it afterwards because it's the demon doing that, right? So I believe that also, in order for Les Wexner to become so powerful, he has to agree to let the demons come in. And the parents of people like Les Wexner want their children to be powerful and to have power. And by working with the demons, it's like a symbiosis where, okay, demon, I will kill babies and eat the blood for you if you give me this knowledge of beyond time or these other things that, like, you talk to, if you do, I suggest you do speak to Jerry Marzinski. He'll tell you
I
about
have listened to at least 2 of your interviews
Great.
with Jerry Marzinski. His work is first rate.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with him.
He's fantastic. He worked with schizophrenics, and instead of just thinking they're crazy, he asked them questions and was like, what's going on in there?
Yeah.
And he learned that the voices are independent and separate. They are not, and they work together.
Wow.
To attack humans, and they drain energy out of the humans, like a parasite. And he describes they come in as if they're punching a clock. It's their job. They're there for this many hours, and then another one comes in. It's like, it's really, and the schizophrenics are able to find, Jerry tells a story about one of his patients in the, schizophrenic person who, I think he was in a rehab or a jail, and he's talking to Jerry. Jerry was one of the counselors, and he tells Jerry about the demon told him where to go and what to do at what time, and he found these cannabis fields, and the people weren't there at the time, and he was able to cut a few plants and bring them home and sell them and whatever. How do you get that information? How do you know that was there? The demon told him this, right? So the demon gave him that. So, like, he would want that demon to be there with him, to work with him, to have these powers. So the evil psychopaths, they don't have a moral core. So they see it as, I'm just working with something more powerful than me to gain a footing, better power in this world. Mm-hmm. So they accept. And then when they abuse the children for SRA to make the split personalities, the raping is also a way of introducing demons. Like, you'll even hear, like, Red Hot Chili Peppers has a song about, like, there's demons in my semen, right? Why do the words sound the same? Why is fetus? Why? Like, there's a lot going on there. And I've heard from many victims of ritual abuse that the demons are implanted through the ritual rape. The anal rape and the kundalini smashing open the crown chakra through violent anal rape.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. And and you hear, like, Maynard of Tool singing about shit, blood, and cum on my hands. Like, your hands are your will. and what have you done, you know, like, and what is that song is called Prison Sex, and it's a furthering of the demons. It's like it. The more people look into it, the more they can see like the breaking of the mind, the sexual rape and torture and humiliation is necessary, and that is how the demons do it, right? And so even if you don't believe that demons are being engendered or implanted or whatever in the victims, you can still see the effect of what happens to the mind after it gets broken by those acts of humiliation and sexual trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So whether there's a demon or not, the result is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the dark ones, whether there's demons there or not, the act of dressing in the robes and creating this, in quotes, sacred space puts your mind in a receptive pattern. And it's kind of a way of training your mind into accepting and believing. And it's hypnotizing yourself.
Yeah.
By doing these magic rituals, you know. Yeah. So people need to learn. You guys learn more about the occult, learn more about SRA and what demonology, and you know, and Kubrick did allude to the demonology by having the backwards speech of the sacred, and he has the guy with the mask has a thurible, and he's consecrating the space just like they do in a Holy Mass of the Roman Catholics. And it is Widdershins. It's against so like a sundial goes clockwise. So that is the path of the sun, and the sun is good and right, and you know all that. So even when witches are mixing their brew, they'll do it clockwise to put all the good energies into their brew, right? But when the necromancers are working against the unfolding time of nature, the way that if they want to work against that and grind nature's path into the opposite, turn it around, make it go backwards. I am taking control. We're going backwards now. And that inversion is an affront to the creator who created time to unfold in this way. And by going against that, it's working against the will of God. And the way that ritual of the red carpet, those women are being impregnated. That's what the sex is, you know? And so by doing the sacred ritual and going counterclockwise, it's working against the natural conception that would be happening if that whore was just getting banged by a bunch of guys. The result would be a child of God gets inseminated into her egg and it grows. But if you look at the Moonchild rituals of Crowley and his Moonchild book and what that whole book is about, it's about creating an embryo that can house a demon rather than a human soul. And it's how do you do that? And a lot of the occult thought that it takes 40 days for the soul to inhabit, and it's just a blank baby is just a blank vessel waiting for the soul, right? So that's why it's no big deal if you chop it in 8 days, because soul's not there to experience it. Who cares? It's just a baby. Chop it up and eat it, whatever. Kind of went off there, but in a way that this, you don't have to believe it. They are believing it when they do the ritual. And in so doing, they're putting their mind in a space where they believe they can act as a demon would act. And it gives them license to be licentious and to be a total libertine, if you will, like Marquis de Sade, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So the demons don't really have to be real. You just have to believe in what they do for you, and then you can embody that.
Well, I think the evidence suggests that demons are very real.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah, right.
Well, again, according to Jerry Marcinski and just all the evidence, demons are real, and that's why they go for this so early with the youngest children, because they are closest to God, and the one thing that Satan wants to do is, destroy God or go against God.
That's right. That's why the children, that's why they get, because that's closest to the divine spark, uncorrupted. Right. I mean, how could we be animated without it? You're right. Yeah. And the more we learn and the more we study about the creator itself, and then we look at our own nature as humans, what really excites us is creation, and that's what gets us horny, is to make more babies, like to create, like it's like we're a fractal shard of that light.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, this has been an incredible conversation. Sean, thank you again so much for coming on the show. John, thank you for joining as well. Did we cover all the questions that you wanted to cover?
Oh, absolutely. And Sean, I just wanted to let you know I've been listening to your podcast for a long time.
Yeah.
You're absolutely an OG.
Well, I thank you both, and thank you, John, and for paying both of you for paying attention to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm thank you for listening. I mean, really, that means a lot to me. And I'm delighted to meet you both. And
Me
it's
too.
great. It's great to speak about this with someone who's really listening and really cares. And it's a delight for me to be here. Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, and we'll make sure to include show notes to Wake the Dead when we publish it. Anything else that you want to point listeners to?
No, they can find everything I do at onegreatworknetwork.com/Sean-McCann. I post everything there. So, and I'll put embeds from the YouTube, the Rumble, the Odyssey, the Spotify. All of the embeds are on that one page. So when YouTube erases it, you can still find it. When Spotify erases it, it's still there in all those other places. So I do that so that people can always find what I've created. And I've been doing this for years, and I have kind of slowed down this past couple months. My son is home from school, a summer break, and my job has got some, I do 4 days, but it's 10-hour days, and it's tough to get things. But I'm going to keep going, and I'm always going. And right now I've got 2 or 3 that are on my computer that I haven't posted yet. So, if you see that I haven't posted in a while, that's okay. I'm still there, and I just wait another few days. I'll have another one. So, yes, right. And if people, I don't have commercials. I don't have sponsors. I mean, with that Rumble thing, I let Rumble put commercials because whatever. But I don't really get paid. I mean, Rumble gives me fractions of a penny. So if anybody likes what I do and they want to give back, please do, because I am a struggling loser. I have a shitty job. I drive a delivery truck. I'm a photographer and shit, but I don't make art anymore. I'm just a family guy that's trying to put food on the table, and my art is the show now.
Yeah.
And I am struggling, but I'm going to make it work. And people, the grace of people who love me is how I'm able to do this at all. This microphone was given to me by my best friend. This monitor was given to me by one of my best friends. The camera was given to me by another great friend. So the computer, like I started my podcast living in a car. Now I have a desk, now I have a house, kind of like a rent. And so like, please, anything that people can do. I have a PO box. They can find that at, there's a donate page on onegreatworknetwork.com/Sean McCann. They can click there. I also sell t-shirts. I have fine art, photography designs that I put on t-shirts, as well as anarchist freedom symbols, sigils that I've created, that also you can wear that and teach people about freedom and anarchy. And so you can find that as well. There's a button to click there too. So please help me survive in this satanic world.
Sean,
Absolutely.
we all struggle from time to time. You are fighting the good fight, and I don't care what anybody says.
Absolutely.
God bless you.
I would never
Thank you.
categorize you as a loser. You
Winning.
are
Yeah.
on the leading edge, on the leading light of truth.
God bless you. Thank you. It's my pleasure. I'm so glad
Yeah.
to be here.
Thanks again, guys. This is great. Thank you to Sean McCann for cracking the cipher that is Eyes Wide Shut and revealing its time code with the Fidelio Experiment, for highlighting the chronological and numerological synchronization embedded within the film and Kubrick's broader filmography. Thank you to John Coffey for the insightful perspectives, as always. And thank you to Stanley Kubrick, may he rest in peace, for creating the masterpiece that is Eyes Wide Shut, and for using his medium to expose as much as he could about the nature of the rulers. An act of defiance which I believe led to the loss of his life. Each time I watch the film, I learn more about the structure and function of our enemy. Stanley Kubrick left a treasure trove of information hidden in the film, and my gut says that we've only scratched the surface of what he intended for us to find. In that way, Eyes Wide Shut was the Epstein Files 1.0. 27 years after the release of Eyes Wide Shut, we now have the Epstein Files 2.0, and possibly even a forthcoming 3.0 file drop. We also have John Podesta's Pizzagate emails, Hunter Biden's laptop, and Hillary Clinton's private server emails. At least the ones that weren't part of the 33,000 anodyne emails about planning Chelsea's wedding or her mother's funeral arrangements, condolence notes to friends, as well as yoga routines, family vacations, the other things you typically find in inboxes. You know, the ones she had her minions delete despite the server being subject to a congressional preservation order and subpoena, making this a felony. But who knows, maybe even that destroyed evidence has been recovered, ready to be disclosed one day, once the public consciousness is ready for what those emails reveal. Either way, the mountain of evidence we have against this human trafficking cabal, including its kingpins, is overwhelming. We've got these disgusting Luciferian freaks by the balls. So let's make 2026 the final act of Eyes Wide Shut and the dawning of the age of Eyes Wide Open. It's well past time we hold these human traffickers accountable for their crimes.
Ooh.